So I just want to move very quickly to the responsibilities of the workplace. I think this is very important. We often take it for granted that actually 60% of our population is at work, right? What I'm trying to say here is that the reason why SG Secure at workplaces is very critical is because 60% of our population is at work, and we're spending most of our waking hours at the office. So the exposure is there. If a terrorist incident were to happen, in the minds of most terrorist actors, the right places to target would be workplaces, right? And maybe even the public spaces were targeted, these would be adjacent to workplaces. So workplaces have a very critical frontline role in being able to do something about the situation if it happens directly or indirectly upon the organization. Okay, so that's why this kind of initiative becomes very critical. And here, I think I would also put the onus upon business leaders. I think senior managers, for those of you who are attending this program, it serves to be reminded we must take this seriously. And really the cue comes from business leadership, right? To say that this is something that we must do, right? It may be some perceived cost, so to speak, on the organization, but I think business leaders have a strong role to play in reframing the conversation. I work in the commercial sector myself, so I know that security is often seen as a cost center when it shouldn't, right? In the least, we should see security or our risk mitigation measures as an insurance plan. And we all are we all see the value of insurance plans. That's what many of us subscribe to various insurance policies. Why don't we have the same kind of framework when it comes to organizations too, right? And it's not just for the self-interest of organization, it's for the collective interest of the whole of Singapore as well, right? And so in many of my training sessions, I actually try not to use the word security. Security is always triggers the word cost and the consumption of a company's bandwidth, right? Its time, its people, etc. I think loss prevention is a better phrase to use, and increasingly in commercial circles, loss prevention has more traction. And here is a case about preventing loss, right? In this case, through biological threats and risks that may happen in the workplace or adjacent to the workplace to which the workplace plays a part. So here, once again, whether it's biological terrorism or chemical terrorism or just conventional physical or kinetic terrorism, if you like, that we have all companies have some infrastructure that they clearly should dedicate to preparedness, emergency response, security, etc. Right? We already have our corporate security infrastructure in place. All companies have this today. We also have facilities, and the way in which we manage our facilities can actually add to security. Health promotion, and Ansley and Kenneth talked a lot about this before, right? We're already learning to be more hygienic and be more careful about the way in which we conduct ourselves as physiological beings, right, that affect other people. So health promotion, the health of oneself, the health of the group, the health of the organization, the health of society, all this is multi-layered and important that we all play a part, right? High immunity levels, high hygiene levels actually create a lot of buffer against biological risks already, as you know. And that's the reason why it's incumbent on companies, right, in more ways than one, to make sure that employees are fit. They're not only just productive individuals at work, but they also are robust and are be able to fend off ailments and sicknesses, illnesses, etc. Human resources, this is important. This was mentioned also, I think, in the beginning by Shermaine, when she talked about many of the things that we should be having in place, right? You saw the videos, you saw the brochures, things like getting to know your neighbors. This is actually very important. And we have human resource has a very strong role to play, right? In making sure that all employees, for example, in an evacuation situation, corporate security, human resource works together, make sure that all individuals are tagged and accounted for, etc. Right? So human resources has a strong role to play. And business continuity as well. This is a very important framework, which brings me to my next slide, that we have to make sure that we put BCP at the center of everything. And actually, BCP speaks volumes about the need to do good anti-terrorism and counter-terrorism contributions from the part of private sector, because things that we do to mitigate against risks like terrorism are clearly preventative in measure in terms of its what it seeks to achieve, and also the preparedness and response and recovery side. All this actually is a very securitized model that actually doesn't speak just about business, about security, but business as well. All right, so I just want to show you this very quick framework. I think many of you who are in a security role are aware of this, that terrorism is not simply a niche area for our expert responders from the home team. Yes, they will do the bulk of the heavy lifting because of their training, expertise, and the resources, etc., as shared even by Ansley, how the immense capabilities the SCDF has. But in terms of the part to be played by organizations and individuals, right? It doesn't behoove anyone not to make sure that vulnerabilities are being strengthened and overcome, right? That preventive measures are being undertaken. Even collecting intelligence is as simple as making sure that we know what's happening in terms of the current threat space and through the information that's shared by the Ministry of Home Affairs and other coordinating agencies for what Singaporeans need to know about what's out there and to prepare for. And then planning for crisis management and responding to terrorist incidents and performing crisis management. I'd like to spend the remaining time on the last two boxes here, because this is the part about not just talking the talk, so to speak. It is very easy for us to do that, but walking it, meaning that are you on a regular basis going through your drills and exercises to make sure that your plans are good? You know, I mean, in other words, are they practical? How well acquainted are people with the response plans? You know, do they know all the ABCs, the fundamentals that need to be undertaken in being able to cycle through a response plan, etc. Right. So this is where the drills and exercises come in, and it's important that organizations portion some time to do this. It's more difficult today because of the pandemic situation and SMMs, but I think at least awareness sessions can keep us warm, and then in better times and we're heading towards those, we should go back to some small scale exercises and drills in the company, at least amongst the people who play the role of wardens and marshalers, right? To make sure that they know where to shepherd and channel people, where the exit points, where the evacuation rally points, etc. Right? Because these are things that could really make a big difference in the outcome of a crisis.